Stay tuned for more keys that I've picked up from Whatnot. Welcome back, comic book fans. It's Rusty again from Collector Auctions, and today we're going to be going over comic books that I've been picking up from eBay and from Whatnot, books that I've been speculating on, hopefully to get high grades from CGC after I get them into my shop and do a little bit of DIY, do a little bit of cleaning and pressing on them, trying to get them bumped up, try to get those super high grades, and add a lot of value to them. But before we get into the books, hit the like button, slap the subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my new episodes that come out on Mondays and Fridays at 10 a.m. And make sure you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, where I end up posting special deals I have on a lot of my comics that I've been getting graded. You can go there and you can find some special deals, and you can reach out and DM me on either platform if you're interested in any of these books. So guys, check me out on Instagram and Facebook. Now, let's get into the books. So the first books come from eBay, and I ended up buying two different books from the same seller off of mycomicshop.com. It was on eBay though, not from their website. And it falls into the books that I've been kind of picking up, this genre of books I've been picking up recently. And these are funny books, classic cartoon characters from my childhood. Some of these, and actually the first one here is one that I had when I was a kid. I remember this book. It wasn't the original story because I've seen that book and the original coloring on that. And this is a different colored background on the cover, but it is definitely the same story. And I'm talking about this right here. It is Uncle Scrooge. This is number 114. And I got this from mycomicshop.com off of eBay. They had this listed as a very fine plus. It looked really good. I don't see any spine ticks on that, so when I don't see the spine ticks, it gives me some hope that I can work with the book with some pressable defects, things that I can do to pump it up in grade. This right here is not one of those I'm specking on these books, but there's definitely some hidden value in getting some of these older Gold Key Dale comics from non-superhero comics. It's something fun I've been getting into lately, and as you know from my previous videos, Uncle Scrooge is one of my all-time favorite characters, definitely probably my favorite Disney character. But I remember this. I had this as a kid. I remember this cover, but I didn't know it was a reprint when I was a kid. I've since seen the original issue. I think it was from 65 maybe. It's got a deep dark blue cover instead of this purple. So I'll get that eventually someday down the road. But in the meantime, I happened to find this. I was just doing another search on eBay for very fine Uncle Scrooge, Dale/Gold Key, some combination of that, and ended up running across this, and I'm literally paying hardly any money at all for some of these books like this. And I guess it's just nobody's really out there looking for them hard. I'm just kind of have opened my eyes a little bit and have just started getting some of these. These are fun. I remember the story a little bit. So I'm going to actually, before I press it, I'm probably going to sit down and just easily flip through it and read the story again. Now, I also picked up another Uncle Scrooge, slightly older. This is issue number 98, and I'm reading the notes on the back of the book here off the bag. They had this listed as a 7.0, fine, very fine. It's in a little bit older shape. It's got some age to it, but again, I'm not finding spine ticks over here, and dogged corners, creases, things like this. I see what I can see as pressable defects, and this one looks like it'll probably take a little bit more dry cleaning. Now, let me give you some values on these here. I'm going to separate them just a little bit here, if you can see them a little bit. So this one right here, this is number 98. This is from March of 1972. Yeah. So let me give you some values on these, and I tell you, this is where there's hidden value. You can really, not a key, nobody's out there searching for it right now, but if you can take this, work on it, get that 9.8 or even a 9.4 in this case. In fact, a 9.4 is the most common grade that you'll find on this book that's actually been graded. And for that, the most recent sale was literally back in October for $132. If you can get a 9.8, A copy of this hasn't sold. A 9.8 on this has not sold since 2011, February of 2011, off of Heritage Auctions, and it went for $388. I mean, that was 12 years ago. I can only imagine what the price is if you could pull a 9.8 on this. You better believe when I get this in the shop, I'm going to be working on it, and I'm trying to improve and get that grade up as high as I can. At the very least, I'd like to get this up to a 9.4. Even their own grading has it as a 7.0. That straight up might be what it is without a little bit of love and care from my shop. But we'll see what we can do. On this one right here, this is, again, 114. This is from August of 1974, and 9.6 was the last recent sale and is the most common grade that you'll find on this book if it's graded. It only went for $55 back in 2020. Not a lot of value on that. Again, there's times when I don't mind just having them in my PC if I can get those high grades. Above a 9.0, I'd be really happy with either one of these. But these are not the spec books that I talked about at the beginning of the video. We'll get into that. All the other books really come off of Whatnot. These are from eBay, and hopefully you enjoy both of these books. Have you read these books? Do you have these in your PC? Let me know in the comment section. All right, so the next book actually comes off of Whatnot, and it comes from my buddy Jim from Bronzeville Comics. I happened on his show here about a week ago. I usually stop in on his show every week and to at least say hi, and sometimes I'll pick up a book. But this time I actually did pick up a book, and it is a pretty big key right now, considering that Marvel is working on the Thunderbolts movie. And who are they getting for that movie? They're getting Harrison Ford to play General Ross. And who's General Ross? He's also the Red Hulk. And this issue here, this is issue number 2 of the Hulk. This is from 2008. And this is actually his first appearance in his own comic book, was in issue 2. Now, he did have a cover appearance on issue 1, but in second issue is actually when you finally get to see the Red Hulk. And again, we've got Harrison Ford coming in to take over the role of General Ross, and all the speculation is that we're going to have the Red Hulk. And this is a book that's pretty hot right now. I've seen, it's been hot, it's been hotter. And in fact, I've sold my copies. I had 3 of these I bought a year and a half ago from my local LCS that I ended up cleaning, pressing, got 9/8 on every one of those, and I sold all 3 of those as a lot, and I made a lot of money on it. And since then, I've been looking for, that was issue 1, but I'd never had issue 2 here. So I went ahead and picked this up right here. It is the first appearance. It isn't the first issue. Everybody wants the first issue because he is on the cover. But this is actually his first appearance. And there is still not as much value as issue number 1, but you've got right here a 9. If you can get a 9.8 on this, you can. It's right now, the most recent sale was $137 off of eBay. Now, it's down. Believe it or not, even with that movie and all the speculation, it's down. The most recent other sale that was high, really high, well, higher, was at $225. It was nearly $100 more back in November of 2022. So you can see that probably a lot of other people have been putting this book online, getting it graded, so there's more copies out there, so the market's come down a little bit. But there is still a lot of value in this, and I didn't pay a lot from Jim on this. And this is in a really nice shape, although I think there is some rub up here, right around the indicia, that will knock it down. I don't think it's going to get that 9.8. Now, that's an issue right there. If I want to get it graded right now, it's going to go into PC because as a 9.6, most recent sale was here just a few weeks ago here in January, and it only went for $51. So here is a modern book. You need modern books getting those 9.8s, even if they're big keys. I think that's a lesson you can take from a book like this. But I was happy to pick it up, add it to the PC, and thank you, Jim, from Bronzeville Comics. I appreciate that. It's a great book. If you guys get a chance, check him out on YouTube and on Whatnot. I'm not sure. I think it was usually Tuesday nights he's on Whatnot, but I want to say I've seen him on other nights as well. I think the last show I saw he was on Monday night. So who knows? Just check him out on Whatnot. Sorry, it wasn't the best endorsement right there, but check out Bronzeville Comics, guys. Jim's a good guy. The next books I ended up picking up, I picked up from Erod212 off of Whatnot. Now, a lot of people will know Erod off of his YouTube channel as a really big comic book presser. He does a lot of the work for a lot of the big YouTube channels here in the upper Northeast. I'm sure he does comics throughout the country, and he seems to do, everybody seems to really think highly of him with his comic book pressing abilities. I've never tried him out or anything, but I have bought comics from him in the past, and he always goes to shows, and he does YouTube shows where he spotlights some really good shows up in the Northeast corridor and ends up getting some really good comics, and he has some good comics. It's a good range of some really cool older keys versus a lot of brand new stuff too. So you never know what you're going to find on his channel, and that's why I actually check him out each week on Whatnot. And I ended up picking up a couple keys from his last show, and I had just popped in. That's what I do a lot of times. I will pop into a show and I'm checking out 2 or 3 shows at the same time. So sometimes I'll miss something, and sometimes I'll pop in right when they're doing something really cool. And this time I popped in when he was doing a 2-book lot for Fantastic Four number 211 and 358. And both of these are key comics. This is a big comic right here. It's a big time speculation comic. So is this one, but I wouldn't consider, I don't care. I don't care what the spec is on this, and I just don't care. It's like, so what if, was it Paybox? I can't even, I don't even remember the Super Scroll, I'm sorry, the Power Scroll's name. I don't care. I mean, come on, give me Super Scroll every day of the week. You're going to talk Scroll, give me Super Scroll. Anyway, this one right here is number 211. It is the first appearance of Terrax the Tamer, and he becomes the Herald of Galactus, and beautiful artwork here. I want to say, I know Joe Sinnott did the inking. Was it John Byrne? John Byrne did the pencils, right? Reach out, let me know in the comments section if that's correct or not. But it's a big time speculation book. It has always been that way for a long time, and with the FF coming to the MCU and Galactus and the Silver Surfer down the road, Terrax is going to be a big character. One of my favorite characters that John Byrne worked on and eventually destroyed in some of my favorite Doctor Doom comic books, and I've talked about before as well. But this book right here, let's talk speculation. That's what we're here for. This book right here, and this is a newsstand, by the way, and it's in really good shape. I don't know if it's in good enough shape for me to even work on that I can get it to a 9.8, but I'm hoping I can get it into those high 9s. But let me give you the numbers. A 9.8 just recently sold here in January for $719. Now, that's, believe it or not, that's way down from a high that I saw back in July of last year for over $1,100 for this issue as a 9.8. Now, there's still some value at a 9.6 and a 9.4, which is one of the reasons I went ahead and picked this up, and I didn't mind picking it up for a few dollars. This is as a 9.6 back in October, went for $233, and even a 9.4 went for $150. So, and I think that was the best offer, so it wasn't probably $150, it was probably a few dollars less than that. And that was in September of last year. So you can see that there's definitely some value in this book. This right here has been a hot book for the last year because they keep expecting the Power Scroll to show up. And I don't know, maybe it's because I didn't care about the Fantastic Four books of this time. The book, especially after, even maybe a little bit before, but even after the Walt Simonson issues, it just, to me, I don't know, it seemed so ordinary, and I don't know, it didn't have my interest. Even though I continued as a collector getting Fantastic Four and I had this issue, I wasn't reading enough to care. So maybe that's why I don't care about that character and everybody jumping on the bandwagon, and it's a speculation book. But as a 2-book lot, I felt like both books together was a pretty good value. And 9.8 on this is the most common grade. It is a much newer book from 1991. It's square bound, so you better find a good copy, because if it has any defects, it's going to be difficult to get them out. But a 9.8 on this only goes for, right now, Back in December, last sale was $125, and that is the most common grade that you'll find on that. I would not even put that book into CGC unless I had it on a 9.8 pre-screen. So there you go. Those are the books that I picked up from Erod212. The next key comic that I actually picked up was from Kyle's Comics off of Whatnot as well. Again, all of these except for the first two Uncle Scrooges are all off of Whatnot today. And this one was from Kyle's Comics. I have been a customer of him in the past. I picked up tons of good books from him over the last year. And again, I wasn't sitting there watching the show consistently. I was popping in and out, and I popped in when this book came in and was listening to his description, which is one of the reasons I go back to a show, is I listen to their description and I watch how they present a book and they go over it. And without being able to be there in person, it's the only way. You got to have some trust in these sellers off of Whatnot. And I continued going back to Kyle's Comics, and I ended up picking up this right here. It's a really nice copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 258. This is the issue that you discover that the costume that Spider-Man has that he brought back from Battleworld is actually a symbiote. And that, of course, this is the origin of Spawn. I keep doing it. The origin of Venom. And you also have I can't even remember, what do you call Spider-Man in this? When he gets out of the Spider-Man costume, he has to have a costume. He's at the Fantastic Four's headquarters. He has to have a costume. Johnny Storm gives him one of the old uniforms and gives him a paper bag for the head. I cannot remember what you call that character. Reach out, let me know. I know they just made a Funko of that character as well, and he's in the clip for the new animated Spider-Man film as well, although he's not in the Fantastic Four uniform. I know he has the bag over the head. So, key first appearance and key significance to an origin to a major character in the Marvel Universe these days, of course, that being Venom. You've got some Ron Friend's fantastic artwork in this issue. I always loved this issue. This cover was always very intriguing, and it's been homaged an awful lot over the years. But this is a book right here that, if you can get a good grade on this right here, if you can get a 9.8 on this, right now, a recent sale was here just a few weeks ago, here in January, was $283. That's actually down a little bit. I sold one here over a month ago, and I think I ended up selling it for well over, close to that $300 mark. So it is down just a little bit, but even at a 9.6, and I'll give you something, 9.6 is the most common grade that you have on this book right here, and it's only at 95. And I'm a little shocked that price has dropped that low. I think 9.6s, it's not quite that desirable, but you're in that time frame where, I mean, this is old book at this point. This is, 1984. I mean, that's a lot of years. You're talking a lot of years at this point to have that book, and you expect these things to be at 9.8s. Well, the truth is, you can find them at 9.8s, and you can work on them. It is a hard book to pick up the ticks, though, with this really weird charcoal-y cover. I will tell you that. It is really hard to examine this, and you've got to be careful. And I've gotten 9.8s on this, and I've sold them, and I've gotten 9.6s that are, I think I ended up selling 9.6. I've got a 9.4. I've sold those as well. This is a very desirable book. It is on probably some of the current top 10 trending books over the last few weeks. I'm not sure why exactly. Maybe it has something to do with the new Spider-Man film, animated film coming out. I don't know. But again, this is a nice key comic. I will pick this up every day if it's, especially at the price. I don't think I paid it. Yeah, most of the time you're going to end up paying $30, $35 for a really good copy on this, maybe more. I don't think I paid that on this. I don't have the prices I paid for these on this order, but definitely I felt like I got a good value at this, especially at the grade that I think I can get this at. So real happy with this. Guys, try Kyle's Comics off of Whatnot if you get the chance. All right, so I saved the best for last. These are the two biggest key comics that I've got in today's video, things that I've been picking up from Whatnot over the last couple weeks. And this right here comes from Davis Ryder. Davis Ryder does a lot of shows on Whatnot. He has his own exclusive comics that he puts out, that he does almost every week. I've seen multiple shows during the weeks, and he has brand new comics and he has older comics, and I've picked up both, and I've been very happy with everything I've got from him off of his channel. So I guess I was saying check his channel out, guys. He always has good stuff, and this is no exception. These are some really big keys. These are hot books right now, and this right here is Strange Academy #1. This is the regular cover. This is just one of the best series that Marvel has done over the last probably 20 years. And Scotty Young has proved to be as good of a writer as he is an artist. And just what a great series. This has all kinds of speculation for the MCU. They've got so many characters to play with. It will be interesting to see what they eventually end up doing with this. But this was the first issue. And I had a copy of this that I ended up grading, working on it in the shop first, getting it graded, and sending it in CGC. Got that 9.8, and at the time, I thought, wow, I've got a $500 comic book here. But what I found was the market had already been dipping by the point I got this graded, and I ended up selling it. And I got a good price for it, not that $500, which would have been nice to help pay for some of these CGC orders, but it still commands a lot of money to this day. Right now, a 9.8 can go for about $321. That was the most recent sale here early in January for this book. That's about what I sold for my book about at least a month ago. So the market's holding on that. It is the most common grade you're going to find graded in this. I'm sure there's some value to 9.6, but I will tell you this copy I got from Davis Ryder looks really good. I think I've got a good shot at getting another 9.8 on this. But the last book, the other book that I ended up buying from him in this particular show, it's the first time I've bought this book in probably 30 years. And it's a little rough. I think I can work on it, but there's still a lot of value in the grades if it gets graded, below what I'd like, obviously. But let me show you. It is a newsstand copy of Daredevil #168, the first appearance of Elektra by Frank Miller. This right here, one of my all-time favorite books, because I've had 2 on my PC. Actually, I should say I've had 3. The first one's still a reader copy in my old collection someplace as a kid. The next 2 I'd picked up in the early 90s, better copies. And I got both of it, worked on them in the shop, got both of them graded. I ended up getting, I want to say a 7.0 on the lesser of the 2. And I was pretty happy with it because it was my basic reader copy, but it wasn't the old reader copy where I read the cover off of things. It had some spine ticks, but I definitely thought there was some value to it. And I'll be honest, I ended up selling it because the other copy I had ended up coming back as a 9.6. It was a big win for my cleaning and pressing ability because I'm telling you, I didn't think I had a shot at that. I was going to be very happy with a 9.0 because it definitely had some issues around the spine, around the staple. I thought I had pressed the book just a little too hard, but in the end, I got a 9.6 on it, and once it's encapsulated, unless it's something very serious that CGC missed, I'm going with the grade. The grade is what the grade is. There's no obvious defect that's going to say, oh, wow, they completely messed that up. There's definitely none of that. So I've got a 9.6 of this in my PC. But I went ahead and picked this up after he examined it and showed it on the channel. And as I said, there is definitely some wear up in this corner that I am a little concerned with. So I don't think this is going to grade out as high as that 9.6. In fact, I'll be happy if I can get this into that 9.92 range, to be honest with you. We'll see what it gets like when I get it in there and see where I think it's going to end up. Maybe I'll do a video before I send this book into CGC, but I was super happy with this. Let me give you some stats on this. A 9.8 sold back in October. It was the last time a 9.8 sold. It went for over $3,000, and that was on eBay. Now, that's down because in January of last year, on Heritage, they had a sale for over $13,000. It's one of those, I have to go back and double check. Now, if I go back and double check and then I put this video out, I may put a graphic over here saying how wrong I was on that information I'm talking about right now. But if it's if it's correct, I'm going to leave it on there, and I'm going to show you guys what that is. A $13,000 comic book. That's crazy. But there's definitely value in the lower grades. The most common grade you will find on this book is a 9.2. That's the most that you'll find out there in the census. And 9.2 went for $405 back in October of 22. Now, I get a 9.2 on this. I've still made back, if I can sell it, obviously, assuming you can sell it for what that last sale was, I will have more than doubled my money on what I spent for this. So I think it was a pretty decent investment. I think taking a book like this, putting a little bit of money into it, and then really putting my ability to clean and press into this is going to pay off in the end on a book like this. This is definitely has some pressable defects. I know I can take care of a lot of stuff. I think I'm going to be real happy with this. But guys, give Davis Ryder a shot on Whatnot. Check him out each and every week. I'm not sure when his shows are exactly, but he's on there. He's got some great stuff, so definitely check him out. You can get some great keys just like I did. So that's it for today, guys. Tell me, what do you think of these books? Do you like these keys? Do you have them in your PC? Do you have these graded in your PC? Tell me what you think about it. Leave me a comment in the comments section, and we can have a conversation about it. But that's it for today. Join me for the next show, where I'm sure I'm going to go over more key comic books, and maybe I'll hit a new comic book shop along the way, and we can do another comic book shop spotlight. Who knows? I've got a trip planned for... Where is it? Where am I going? Oh my God, I completely forgot. It's good. Virginia Beach. Virginia Beach is where I'm headed. And I know they got some really good shops down there. I have been to some of the shops close to there down in the Williamsburg, Newport News area. So we'll see if I even stop at those and I go in and find some down in Virginia Beach. We'll find out. But I'm definitely do a video on whatever shops that I go along the way. And we'll continue talking about books that I can speculate on and you can speculate on. It's a lot of fun. These are fun books to pick up, whether for the PC or for resale. It's either way, it's all good, right, guys? So that's it. Take care, and remember, guys, every comic has a story.